You know that moment. The one where you're sitting right next to someone you love, maybe in the car, maybe at dinner, maybe in bed with the TV still glowing. And the room feels so quiet it almost starts ringing. They answer you with one-word replies. Their face is flat. Their body is there, but their presence is gone. And suddenly you realize something terrifying. You are not in a fight. You are not even in a conversation. You are alone, right beside them. And your mind starts talking fast. Why does this keep happening? Why do I feel needy for wanting warmth? Why do I always leave these moments feeling like I asked for too much? Am I the problem? Do they even care? Or am I just loving someone who has already emotionally left? Here's the truth most people miss. The super empath doesn't get dangerous when they become louder. They get dangerous when they become done. You're not failing at love. This is not proof you chose the wrong person. Every person who has ever deeply loved someone emotionally withdrawn has stood exactly where you're standing. By the end of this video, you're going to understand what the so-called silent revenge of the super empath really is, why dismissive avoidant coldness triggers it so hard, and what actually changes in the dynamic when an empath stops begging for connection and starts protecting their peace. Let's get into it. The mindset reframe. Most couples believe the problem is simple. They think one person cares too much and the other person cares too little. They think the empath is too emotional and the dismissive avoidant is just cold. But the real truth is much deeper than that. What you are watching is usually two nervous systems reacting to threat in opposite directions. One moves closer, one pulls away. One says, "Please meet me here." The other says, "Please stop overwhelming me." And here's what nobody explains. What looks like coldness is often deactivation. What looks like neediness is often protest. Beneath the surface, both people are usually protecting old pain with very different strategies. Your partner's nervous system is reading pressure before their mind can turn it into words. Your nervous system is reading distance before your mind can tell itself to calm down. So the cycle starts. You pursue, they withdraw. You get more activated, they get more shut down. And then love goes underground. Not gone, underground. That matters. Because the silent revenge of a super empath is not revenge in the childish sense. Not punishment. Not manipulation. Not a game. It is the moment an empath stops confusing self-abandonment with love and stops pouring emotional energy into a person who only knows how to receive it when it costs them nothing. Honestly, that changes everything. Because once you see this clearly, you stop asking, "How do I get them to open?" and start asking, "Why have I been over-functioning in a relationship where safety keeps disappearing?" And that question is the beginning of power. Real power. The kind that can either repair the relationship or reveal that there is nothing real left to repair. 1. The day you stop explaining. Here's the part no one talks about. The first silent revenge of a super empath is not distance. It's the day your explaining dies. Most couples fall into the same trap here. Most couples think if something important is not being understood, the answer is to explain it better, softer, longer, cleaner, calmer, one more time. So you do. You break down your feelings into bite-sized pieces. You remove every sharp edge. You try not to sound accusing. You make your pain easier to digest. And still, somehow, you leave the conversation feeling even more unseen. Because the deeper truth is this. When someone is dismissive avoidant and emotionally shut down, your detailed explanation does not always land as clarity. Sometimes their nervous system hears it as pressure. More words, more expectation, more demand. Meanwhile, your nervous system is screaming, if I can just say it perfectly, maybe I can finally matter here. So both of you get trapped in patterns that feel logical from the inside and exhausting from the outside. The disconnecting version sounds like this. You never listen. I've explained this 10 times. Why is it so hard for you to just care? The connecting version sounds like this. I'm not going to keep translating my pain into smaller and smaller pieces to make it easier to receive. If you want connection with me, I need presence too. That's the shift. And when you do that, your pain stops auditioning for understanding, and your dignity finally sits back down in the room. 2. Silence starts talking. And this is the one most couples never figure out. When a super empath gets quiet, it is rarely because they feel less. It is because they have felt too much for too long. Most couples misunderstand silence. Most couples assume the louder person is the one with the power, and the quiet person is the one losing.
But in relationships shaped by avoidant coldness, that flips. The empath's silence often arrives after months or years of unspoken longing, repeated repair attempts, and emotional labor that kept hitting a locked door. At some point, the nervous system stops knocking. It's like pulling your hand off a hot stove. Not because you stopped wanting warmth, because you finally registered the burn. And here's what changes everything. Dismissive avoidant partners are often strangely comfortable when you are chasing them because the cycle is familiar. It lets them stay withdrawn while still being wanted. But when you go quiet, in a grounded way, not a manipulative way, something shifts in them. Their inner world often starts whispering, "She's not chasing me this time," or "He's really leaving the emotional room." That silence becomes a mirror. Not a threat, a mirror. The disconnecting version sounds like this. Are you mad? Hello, say something. Fine, forget it. The connecting version sounds like this. No, I'm not shutting down. I'm stepping back because I can feel myself overreaching, and I'm not doing that anymore. That kind of silence is different. And when you practice it, the walls between you become visible for the first time, instead of just painful. 3. Your warmth gets boundaries. This is where it gets really interesting. The empath's real power is not their softness. It's the moment their softness gets standards. Most people in relationships think empathy means endless access. Most couples confuse compassion with availability and patience with tolerance. So if you are the super empath, you start believing love means understanding their moods, making room for their distance, excusing their withdrawn patterns, and staying emotionally available even when they are not. You become the climate control for a relationship that only feels safe when you regulate everyone. But here's the deeper emotional truth. Empathy without boundaries becomes self-erasure. And dismissive avoidant coldness often lasts longest when the other partner keeps absorbing its impact without consequence. Not because the avoidant partner is evil,
Because humans rarely confront a pattern that is still working for them. Beneath the surface, she feels drained. He feels entitled to space without accountability. They feel stuck in a cycle where one person keeps giving presence and the other keeps receiving it without repair. The disconnecting version sounds like this. I know you're stressed, so it's okay that you disappeared for 3 days. I just miss you, that's all. The connecting version sounds like this. I can respect your need for space. I cannot keep pretending emotional inconsistency has no impact on me. If you want closeness with me, there has to be consistency too. Not colder, clearer, not harsher, more real. And when you do that, your love stops feeling like a free resource and starts feeling like something sacred enough to protect. 4. You stop chasing their potential. But here's what nobody explains. A lot of empaths are not attached to who the avoidant partner consistently is. They are attached to who that person becomes in rare moments of openness. Most couples never say that out loud. Most couples keep bonding to flashes. The vulnerable night, the deep conversation at 2 a.m., the sudden tenderness after distance, the one text that sounds exactly like the person you have been missing. And because those moments feel so real, you keep building the whole relationship around them. You start loving the breakthrough more than the baseline. That is a brutal cycle, because intermittent warmth hits the nervous system like a slot machine. Unpredictable reward creates powerful longing. It keeps you leaning in. It keeps you telling yourself, see, they're in there. I just have to be patient. But intimacy is not built on rare access. Intimacy is built on repeated safety. The disconnecting version sounds like this. I know you've been distant, but last weekend you opened up so much. That's the real you. I know we can get back there. The connecting version sounds like this. I'm not going to build a relationship around your occasional availability. I need to respond to your patterns, not your potential. Honestly, that line changes lives. Because when you stop chasing who they could be, you finally see who they are being with you right now. And that's when your partner stops feeling like a puzzle to solve and starts becoming a truth you can actually respond to. 5. Your calm stops feeding the cycle. Here's the part most couples completely miss. The super empath's strongest move is often not intensity, it's regulated calm. Most couples believe disconnection gets solved by bigger conversations, more explaining, more emotional urgency, more late-night processing, more pressure for clarity. But a dismissive avoidant nervous system often reacts to emotional intensity like a smoke detector reacts to steam. It does not stop to ask if there is real danger. It just sounds the alarm and shuts the system down. So when you come in hot, even with valid pain, they often go colder. And then you feel crazier, more alone, more desperate to be heard. Not louder conversations, not better wording, not one perfect text that finally makes them understand, but a steadier, emotional presence that says, I am here, I am clear, and I am not abandoning myself to keep this from getting uncomfortable. The disconnecting version sounds like this. Why do you always do this? Every time I need you, you disappear. Say something, anything. The connecting version sounds like this. I want to talk about what happened. I'm available for that when we can both stay present.
If you shut down, I'm not going to chase you into the conversation. And here's what changes everything. Their brain may quietly register, she's not attacking me, but she's not rescuing me from accountability either. That is new. That is emotionally mature. That is not a communication hack. That is what it looks like when someone has learned to love without losing themselves. And when you do that, the relationship stops feeling like emotional warfare and starts revealing whether real repair is actually possible. 6. The mystery finally breaks. And this is where a lot of healing begins. The silent revenge of the super empath is that one day, the avoidant partner is no longer mysterious. They are predictable. Most couples stay trapped because confusion creates hope. Most couples tell themselves, maybe they're just stressed. Maybe now is a bad time. Maybe if I stop asking for so much, things will soften. But after enough cycles, the empath starts recognizing the script. Closeness rises. Vulnerability appears. The avoidant partner feels exposed. Then distance, deflection, flatness, or disappearance follows. Same movie, different scene. And once you see the pattern, the magic breaks. Not because your heart hardens, because your mind finally catches up to what your body has been feeling. Emotional distance in a relationship is not like a single wall. It is like scar tissue. It forms slowly over 100 small moments that never got repaired. 100 times you reached. 100 times something in you heard, not here, not now, not with me. The disconnecting version sounds like this. They just need more time. If I stay patient, maybe this version of them will pass. The connecting version sounds like this. No, this is not a rough patch. This is a repeating pattern. And if it stays unspoken, it becomes the relationship. That realization hurts. Bro, it hurts bad. But it also frees you. Because when the mystery breaks, you stop bargaining with reality and start turning toward yourself with honesty. And that's the shift that turns a relationship from a fog you keep getting lost in into a landscape you can finally navigate. 7. You stop needing to be chosen to feel worthy. Here's the deepest layer. The final silent revenge of the super empath is not making them miss you. It's no longer needing their choice to prove your value. Most couples never get here. Most couples stay focused on one question. How do I get them to finally show up for me? But beneath the surface, a more painful question is often driving everything. If they stay emotionally withdrawn, what does that say about me? That is the wound. That is why dismissive avoidant coldness cuts so deep. It does not just create distance, it activates worthlessness. But here's the real transformation. When you heal, you stop interpreting someone's emotional limitations as a verdict on your lovability. You stop believing your job is to be so understanding, so patient, so emotionally available that they eventually become safe. And something in you finally says, I am not hard to love. I have just been offering deep love in a place that does not know what to do with it. The disconnecting version sounds like this. Just tell me what you need from me and I'll do it. I just want us to be okay. The connecting version sounds like this. I know what I bring to a relationship. Connection, presence, repair, warmth. If that keeps meeting a wall, I will stop calling the wall home. That is the revenge. Not cruelty, not ghosting, not making them hurt. Becoming unavailable to the cycle that has been hurting you. And when you do that, you stop feeling like someone waiting to be chosen and start feeling like someone finally coming home to themselves. Close. This is not a checklist. It is an identity shift. When you internalize this, you stop over-functioning in love. You stop translating your pain into something easier to ignore. You stop calling emotional starvation patience and self-abandonment understanding. And in that shift, you become something different, more grounded, more emotionally available, more honest, more real. Maybe the relationship repairs, maybe it doesn't, but either way, you change first. You stop reacting to coldness like it gets to define you. You start responding from self-respect, from clarity, from safety, from the kind of presence that does not beg to be met. And honestly, that is the beginning of every healthy love story, whether it is with this person or the next one. The moment you stop chasing warmth from people committed to staying cold is the moment your real healing begins.